All right, guys, we're back. Another episode of the Legends Never Die podcast. Episode number 2, week 2 of the NFL. Week 3 of college football coming up. We had a good week 1 and week 2 in both sports this past week. A lot of surprises. I'll start off by saying I was very disappointed in the New Orleans Saints defense. Let me down on a whole nother level. But that'll be my first statement of the day is you let me down, Saints D. Now we'll bring it to Matt and see what he has.
I've been saying this since the preseason. Tyreek Hill will be a monster this year. Possibly the number 1 wide receiver. With Mahomes throwing it deep, it's just 50-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown, punt returns for touchdowns, yards.
All right, this is Caleb coming from you live with the Legends Never Die podcast. I have to say my letdown of the week are my Pittsburgh Steelers. First of all, how do you tie to the Cleveland Browns? Chris Boswell misses a 40. Yeah, exactly. You miss.
Why do we still have ties in the NFL?
Right, I agree with that.
Does any other major sport have a tie?
Absolutely not.
Soccer does draws, but they go to a penalty kick.
Yeah, but not in regular games, only in like
Exactly.
World Cups. But still, though, you shouldn't have a tie in football. It's dumb. There should always be a winner. I mean, go to the college. How do they do?
Start
you know
at
what
the
I'm saying?
25-yard line.
Right.
Somebody's got to score.
Somebody has
Make
to
it a
score.
death. What is it called? The death? Something like a death.
I have no idea. But
yeah, no ties in NFL.
yeah,
that's
absolutely not. And I can say this: if Le'Veon Bell is with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that they do not tie. No knocking James Conner. He had 195 scrimmage yards. It's just Le'Veon knows how to win games. He does. He would have secured the ball. He'd have broke for a couple, maybe one more touchdown. You just never know.
But he was too busy at the strip club.
There's no telling. Is that true?
Yes.
Well,
is it true?
He was at the strip club.
And that's what I heard.
Wow.
And who is like, no, don't pay me $800,000 to go take 30 carries.
Oh wait,
this game.
$853,000 to be exact.
Don't-
Skipping out on an $853,000 check.
Yeah, don't give me $1 million to go beat the shit out of Cleveland Browns for the
Right.
15th straight time.
That's just it's annoying.
My letdown of the week was Arkansas Razorbacks had nearly $200 total I would have won if they could have covered a 8-point spread against Colorado State University.
Did Colorado end up winning that game outright?
Yes.
Wow. In
30
Arkansas?
34-27 in Arkansas.
Versus an SEC school.
Yes. That was my biggest letdown. Now my biggest how did I put this? The best thing that happened this weekend is the Braves in this 5-game winning streak we're on. Phillies, y'all are 7 games back. It's over. But don't sleep on the Nationals because magically they're on a winning streak now and they're wrecking people. So they ain't but like 8-9 games back. So who knows?
I think they don't stand a chance, really. Nationals are too far gone. Traded away Murphy. I don't think they. Yeah, and Matt Adams. Yep.
Matt Adams has been killing it in St. Louis. It seems like every time he goes to a new team, it's home run. Matt Adams.
Right. He's solid. Another pickup I like since you mentioned the Atlanta Braves, is Duda. Is it Lucas Duda or whatever?
Yep.
Is it from
he
came from Tampa Bay?
Yeah,
That dude's cold.
he hit a pitch hit solo home run the other night.
Right. Yeah, they put up like 5 or 6 runs. 4 or 5 runs in the 9th inning.
Yep.
Yeah, they're nice. Who were they playing? No, they weren't
The
playing the
D-backs.
Phillies. It was the D-backs. It was
D-backs.
Arizona. Yeah.
They took 2 of 3 from the D-backs
Right. What you
without Fulcanowicz pitching.
But all right, that's all our bold takes there, and what we were upset about for the week, or what we liked, are some high
Disappointments and
performers.
takeaways.
A few other high performers were Michael Thomas, 16 catches for $180, burnt me in fantasy,
Right,
killed
right.
me. We just talked about James Conner, who had a great game. Luckily, I picked him up and flexed him over Crabtree last minute.
Smart.
Still scored 160 and took a loss in fantasy somehow.
Wow.
160 and an L.
I
Took
scored-
an L in my big league as well. Up by 15 points entering Monday Night Football. My opponent has none other than Jared Cook. Who the hell is that? Oakland tight end. catches for 181 yards, and I have Amari Cooper with a 15-point lead who scores me 3 points, and I lose the week. I had chalked it up. I get a call from Dustin that night. Man, I bet you're pissed. Jared Cook's blowing up. I said, no, I'm not pissed. I took Rams spread, but I'm not pissed. He's like, no, you're playing him in the big league. I said, wow, just my luck.
Out of
A
all the
tight
people,
end scores, what, 30
Jared Cook, yeah, it was
points?
something like that.
Without even scoring a touchdown, puts up 30.
Oh, I can vouch. I was down 14.8 points, and I had Amari Cooper, and I sat Emmanuel Sanders, and I had AP on the bench. My bench scored 109 points. Yep, and my starter scored 142, I think, and I lost.
Who's another top performer y'all want to shout out?
Another top-
Tyreek Hill, Matt talked about.
Absolutely.
Michael Thomas, James Conner.
I like with what Dustin said. Emmanuel Sanders. That's pretty impressive. In preseason, Case Keenum was throwing to him all he probably had he averaged about 5 catches a game coming from Case Keenum. So he likes him coming out that slot. I mean, you have Emmanuel Sanders. He can run any route in the NFL, burn anybody. And then you have Demaryius Thomas you have to worry about, plus your new rookie Courtland Sutton. I think that Emmanuel is probably going to be a top 10 receiver this year.
Don't forget about Fitzpatrick, or should I say Fitzmagic, as Cutter would like to call him.
I think it's extremely disrespectful that we're all forgetting that Alvin Kamara outscored everybody in fantasy this week.
Right.
Did he really?
47 points. 48
Wow.
points.
He had so many touches, dude.
Yeah, he had over 100 receiving with 3 touchdowns.
Right. Another good takeaway.
With Ingram out, isn't it just expected?
For sure, no doubt. When Ingram gets back, that's going to be cut down, but that's a two-headed monster right there.
And when you're getting your ass beat by Tampa Bay, isn't it expected?
Yeah,
Drew
exactly. When
Brees
you have to run the score
Drew
up,
Brees to turn that robot
no doubt.
machine arm on and sling for 400-plus yards. And still take a loss. Still almost came back, but if you get outplayed by Fitzpatrick, man, I just feel bad for you.
I mean, I understand that too, but also King Crowley needs to go take some lessons.
No,
The man is boo-boo.
I put every bit of the blame on Saints defense, of course, but Marshawn
No doubt. They
Lattimore.
put up 40 points and lost.
What happened
Marshawn
to you,
Lattimore?
Lattimore?
Marshawn Lattimore was getting burnt.
It's
all
because he's not
day.
holding. If he
Get
can't hold,
off your high horse, Marshawn Lattimore.
if he plays more than 5 yards off a receiver, he's getting toasted. He can't keep up with it. Did you see what Julio did to him last year? Julio made that man look like Hunter was trying to guard me. Crazy.
He better not do that to Julio Jones this year.
Man, Julio, what a great way to start the season. A good game. I was a little upset. We all had Falcons winning the game,
Right.
and I'm sure we could all agree that they should have won the game.
They should have.
2 red zone turnovers, 1 on the 1-yard line.
Right.
Very unfortunate game. And Matt Ryan, I don't think you could hit me on a slant route, dude. I don't think you could hit freaking – I'm the best there is, and you couldn't even throw a touchdown to me.
Well, the main takeaway I took away from the Thursday night game, we haven't talked about it since the game. Matt Ryan, the thing with him and the reason their red zone offense is so bad is because if you look around the league and you look at these quarterbacks, when you get in the red zone, you either have to have a great offensive-minded coach, which they don't have. Steve Sarkisian needs to be coaching college football, not NFL. And Matt Ryan doesn't have the strong arm to thread the needle or the legs to buy himself more time and then create. So it's like a lose-lose when they get in the red zone.
But why do you have 4 different people on the field that you're throwing it to over Julio Jones in the red zone? Now, I get it, fourth quarter when it came down to the last play to win the game, they were throwing Julio's way. But the first 2 red zone trips, when they had to settle for a field goal and then turn the ball over, 0 targets inside the 20 for Julio until the fourth quarter. You got to throw it up to your man. He's burning Jenkins. He's burning the Philly secondary all game long.
The thing with Julio Jones.
And Julio caught that pass. I'm gonna put it that way too. Can everybody agree that he caught that 45-yarder or whatever it was?
Yeah.
It was a catch.
Yeah, the catch rule is ridiculous. But what I was saying, over the last 2 years, or last year and the first game of this season, Julio Jones in the red zone, Matt Ryan's completed him 1 of 21 passes that he's threw to him in the red zone.
It's like he just decides to fall apart when he gets inside that.
Or he doesn't have the arm strength or the legs to move around. And Another quick takeaway. The Bears defense is going to be something serious.
Yeah,
A
but
force.
this is staying on that first game, that Thursday night football. Eagles' workhorse, I believe, needs to be Jay Ajayi at running
doubt.
back. I think he needs to get the
The
touches if they want to
Nigerian
win.
nightmare.
What
That's
a
his
beast,
nickname.
man! He's gonna be good in that offense. They got to get him the ball more, really.
I have
think
another
they came out
takeaway.
and said that he was going to be the primary running back from here forward.
They said that before the season.
Yeah, but they emphasized it this week. Peterson came out and said he is what we thought he'd be.
Another takeaway. Adrian Peterson. Adrian
Man.
Peterson put up some numbers. He had what he-
Ageless Adrian.
Right, 90 something rushing yards. He had 80 receiving yards. Pushed
That
it into
boy's
the end
not
zone.
only whipping kids' ass anymore, he's whipping Arizona's ass too.
Yeah, he did good. He did really good.
Everybody's
over
going to be
100
whipping Arizona.
scrimmage yards. Adrian Peterson, he was over 100 yards this week.
Yeah, he
with
had
a touchdown.
He had,
80 receiving and 90 rushing.
160 total.
yeah, it was a good game by Adrian Peterson. I'm actually going to do something in fantasy that this coming week that I've never done, and I've been playing fantasy for like 6 years. I'm going to be starting Chris Thompson and Adrian Peterson
2 running backs on the same
on
committee.
the same team.
You
I
like
would-
the short pass game?
No.
See, I hate to watch it, but when you execute it right, what Gruden's doing in Washington, it's boring to watch, but the success on it is what's good.
They both produced last week. They both had 24 fantasy points. I'll take that. With Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyreek Hill, nobody's going to beat.
But the slow game that Washington plays is just so boring to watch. Their time of possession compared to Arizona's last week was probably 3-1 at least.
Yep, Jordan Reed's back healthy for a couple weeks, and so
I know. Fortunately, I picked him after Delaney Walker this year, so he is my backup now that Walker's out for the season. But a few good people to pick up if you missed out on Walker or Olsen getting hurt this week in your fantasy league. Y'all could go check out Kittle, the tight end out of San Fran.
And my biggest pickup for this week is what I believe is the best handcuff running back in the league, and it's Austin Eckler from the Chargers. 24 fantasy points on 10 touches.
Yeah, but I think that's Gordon's job to lose. Gordon did very well in both the pass and receive. He had over 160 scrimmage yards.
But
No
he had-
touchdown, but
He had 15 carries for 63 yards. Unacceptable.
it's all right. It's hard to run when you're down the entire game.
That's
10
when it's
10
the
or more
easiest
points.
to run.
Nah.
If you're down and you're running the ball 15 times.
All right, so one of the premium plays we gave on last week that ended up covering easily, Ravens 47-3. As Caleb said, or Matt said, whoever had said that Flacco was going to be lights out this year, looked good straight off the bat. That was a good first prediction.
I said that. Yeah, too many weapons. He got too many guys to spread the ball to. Too many running backs to run. Kenneth Dixon hit the IR today, but there's a lot to look forward to for Baltimore. I see him winning the AFC North, no doubt.
Yeah, that's a boat. Yeah, the AFC North is really good this year. I think. I mean, you had the Cleveland Browns just tie Pittsburgh. Then you have Cincinnati over there who got their win against Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts, which that's another takeaway too. I think Andrew Luck looked good. Maybe a little rusty. I feel like he'll be a top 10 quarterback this year, no doubt. He's gonna do Andrew Luck. Ain't played in like 600 days, so he looked really good. Another takeaway, what Matt was talking about earlier is Mahomes. Mahomes is gonna be a big play, has big play capability. I mean, and so they won, and they didn't even give the ball to Travis Kelce. That's one of my letdowns this week was Travis Kelce, 1.7 fantasy points. Didn't get him the ball at all. But, I mean, when you have somebody like Tyreek Hill who's just putting up monstrous numbers like that, I guess you don't need to get your tight end the ball.
And I don't think Kareem had a big game either, did he? Or
Did
was
it.
he a
had
big
bust.
impact?
He was a bust this week.
Yeah. I think he's still going to shake back over the season. He's going to be a top RB. But that Chiefs offense, like y'all are saying, they may be the number one offense in the league this year. They very well could put up 25 to 30 a game, for sure. And that'll bring us into the next game.
For the next game, we're going to talk about the Jaguars and the Giants. The Jaguars might have won the game, but we cannot lie. Odell is back, and Saquon is the real deal. With Odell dominating Jalen Ramsey, and Saquon breaking the long touchdown run, I was surprised that they still ended up losing the game.
Man, that touchdown run was filthy. Saquon Barkley with the jump cut, then stiff arms the defender Jack to the ground, houses it for 65 down the sideline. Just a good play. He reminds me a lot of Zeke. Ezekiel Elliott is a rookie. I think he could very well. I mean, he was playing the number one rush D in my opinion. So versus a worse rush D this week versus Dallas, Saquon goes for 120 plus.
I liked what I seen from Jacksonville. As y'all know, you and Matt picked the Jaguars and I picked the Giants. I was expecting a lot out of Odell Beckham, and it showed up. Eli left 2 touchdowns on the field. I mean, how much more open can you get? He burnt Jalen Ramsey, had the angle on him, and he just threw the ball to the back of the end zone. Like, it was maybe the worst pass I've seen since Derek Carr. Oh, Derek Carr's pass on Monday Night Football was worse. It was really bad, and I like Saquon Barkley. He's explosive. Really, really explosive.
And I think Odell did well coming off the injury. His release looked right back on point. 11 catches for, 111 on 11. No touchdown, but he very well could have. And I think just matched up with Ramsey, he was 7 for 75. 5 for 75, yeah. So, still a good day for Odell. Eli didn't have to throw the ball much. I think they could have beat Jacksonville. And going forward, I think Giants have a lot to look forward to. Good team. Now, Dustin will start us off with the Patriots-Texans. What'd you think on that?
I think that teams need to start playing young quarterbacks more in the preseason. I think that had a lot to do with Dak, which I've always been a firm believer Dak's not the guy for Dallas. And I really just I was disappointed. I was wanting some Deshaun Watson magic. I was looking forward to watching my boy go in the end zone a couple times with Hopkins, but the Patriots are going to take away your best weapon no matter what. Every week, go ahead and get ready, and I think New England's got a little defense this year, so it's going to be something to see.
And the GOAT is going to be the GOAT. Brady is still Brady. The ageless wonder. Is he ever going to retire? Probably not. They'll have to get rid of the Hall of Fame retirement rule just to put Brady in as soon as he gets out.
That's golden boy Tom for y'all guys. And then you got broke-ass Gronkowski. Look great, though. I love you, Gronk. You're my man. You're my role model, really. What a model athlete. He says his favorite thing to do is wake up in the morning and have breakfast cooked by his naked women maids. So, I mean, some viewers might not like that, but I like that. So you keep doing you, Gronkowski. And DeAndre Hopkins, step it up, bro.
Right. I agree with
Deshaun Watson,
that.
step it up.
I actually was today I saw on TV they had odds out on if Tom Brady would return in 2019. It was a yes was
minus
a minus
5,000.
215, and then no was a plus 200. So he's definitely coming back. He said he has another 3 more years in him, including this year, so 2 more years.
So your old heads look good this week, really, Breeze and
Yeah,
Brady.
Breeze looked very good.
We can't forget about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
I can't stand him, but that's a man right there.
We talked about him last week. It's not Aaron Rodgers, guys. It's Mr. Rogers on the show. It's like he's our professor, all right? We got to refer to him as Mr. Rogers.
I will never refer to him as that.
Or Daddy Rogers. Either one.
I can't stand him.
I mean, he's dating Danica Patrick, bro. We gotta call him Daddy Rogers.
And I like his after game interview where he said, we're getting this is what we get paid for.
The after game interview where he was high as a kite.
Oh yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Yeah, that was funny. he was going so he went to say something. He had the biggest grin on his face. That was
he said,
funny.
they said,
was
what was
funny.
the injury? He said, my knee.
Yeah.
My knee.
But I did enjoy when he was like, this is why we get paid millions of dollars to come out here and play is, for that reason. We play on injuries like that. He said, if that's one thing that I take away from being behind Brett Favre is that watching him going out and play a full season with a hurt leg and it still come out there and put up top 5 quarterback numbers. It's amazing.
A broke Aaron Rodgers is still a top 5 quarterback.
No, 100%.
A one-legged Aaron Rodgers, a one arm, you could cut his throwing shoulder off, replace it with something, and he'll still go out there and throw for 5,000, win 10-plus games.
But he won't be able to tackle like Shaquem Griffin.
How'd he do this week? He got his first start, didn't he, in Seattle?
I don't know, but that defense looked terrible, and I am definitely picking the Bears to beat Seattle on Monday Night Football.
Did that defense look terrible, or did Denver's offense look pretty good with Keenum? Aside from the interceptions.
Well, let's put it in this perspective. They had 32 carries for 146 yards as a team. Do the math, stat guy. And their quarterback threw for almost 350 yards. So you do the math, they gave up almost 500 yards of total offense.
So not very well. And that brings us into the next game. Caleb will start Vikings and San Francisco. Good matchup we were looking forward to.
Yeah,
we all picked Minnesota last week
Right.
as a premium pick to cover the spread, and they did.
And as Dustin was saying, that's his favorite team, in the NFL, and
His
they're gonna do
favorite
big
team
things.
this week.
Right. Next year it'll be
week,
someone
his favorite
different.
team might be
I
Jacksonville.
like the Rams as well. Our
Oh,
D-line's
I bet.
great.
He likes
My-
the Rams,
my-
Patriots, Eagles, and Vikings.
My
guys.
favorite teams for this season are Minnesota, the Rams, the Patriots, and the Jaguars.
Pretty much anybody that's possibly going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Pretty much
Right.
the AFC and NFC championship games last year and
All
this
right.
year.
So my takeaways from this game are Garoppolo with 3 interceptions. Other than that, he didn't look too bad. He still threw for 261 yards and a touchdown. I think that they got to step up. Everybody surrounding him. You had Matt Breida. He had 11 touches for 46 yards. And then you had Kittle, which Matthew Berry said from the beginning of the year, that's going to be a sleeper tight end. Fast, pretty aggressive, got good hands. He went 5 receptions for 90 yards. I like that. One thing that I didn't like is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook really didn't do anything. Latavius Murray had 42 yards on 11 carries. So that's a takeaway from that. Dalvin Cook's got to step up. Diggs and Thielen are doing their thing. You had Thielen go over 100 yards and with no touchdown. Cousins look really good. That's what I was about to say. 2 touchdowns for 244. He looks amazing. He takes control of the game.
The defense looked good too.
The defense is going to
their first L.
They're going to Vikings are going to do the Vikings. They're a top 5 team in the NFL, no doubt.
So we could say Vikings at worst probably this year NFC Championship.
I could see that.
In a very stacked NFC where you also have Philly, Eagles, and Saints, and just anybody really. Falcons could be there. Carolina could be there, although they didn't look too good.
My thoughts are quick on the San Francisco and Minnesota game. Quickly, George Kittle, I think everybody's hopping on the hype train a little bit too quick. He was only getting the ball like that because Marcus Goodwin got hurt early in the game, and that affected Garoppolo. I'm not saying they would have beat the Vikings, but it would have been probably a field goal closer or something like that. And then hopping back to the Thursday night game, I wanted to say that Atlanta lost Deion Jones and Keanu Neal to injured reserve.
I saw both of those, and those are going to be bad injuries. But as a Saints fan, I hate to smile through an injury, but that was 2 that I had to cop a grin.
Going back to Minnesota, the thing is with Cousins, he doesn't even have to play that well for them to win. Their defense gave up 16 points. If you can't score more than 16,
you shouldn't be getting paid $100 million.
Exactly. You got paid to score more than 16.
And then that'll bring us into the next game and the most boring game of the day, I'd say. So we're just going to leave it at this. Titans and Dolphins, get your shit together and don't go in an 8-hour rain delay next time because that was the most boring shit I've ever seen.
A takeaway from that game is what are you doing, Derrick Henry? Deion Lewis got paid pretty good money coming from New England, and he put up some good numbers. He's looking like he's going to be if Derrick Henry doesn't step it up, he might be a every down back. You never know.
On the Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis note, Derrick Henry, Marcus Mariota went out in the third quarter with an injury. I think he was being a puss because they said he hit his funny bone. That sounds like some Blake Bortles stuff. But Derrick Henry did not touch the ball one time after Marcus Mariota went out the game. Because they brought Lewis in to be the check down guy to keep pressure off of Blaine Gabbert. Because we all know that the real Blaine Gabbert will stand up.
All right, we'll keep it at that on the Titans-Dolphins game. Moving into the Bengals and Colts, man. Andrew looked good on the comeback. He didn't look bad at all.
Right.
But Cincinnati looked very good. Mixon looked good. AJ looked good. Dalton looked decent.
The O-line. The O-line looked good.
That's that trade for that Pro Bowler, and then that first round taking that center out of Arkansas really made a good difference. But Cincinnati looked good, and I would say them and Colts are going to both have a better season than last year. But that was kind of a boring game, too. Little action.
On that game, if you drafted Mixon in fantasy, you are grinning ear to ear. He will be the bell cow. Bernard's not going to take really any of his touches. And, I mean, it was against the Colts defense. So we'll see this Thursday whenever they face the Ravens what's going to happen when they face a real defense. But all in all, week one, their offense looked really solid.
Yeah, I like that. The Bengals, yeah, I can touch on that. I love Joe Mixon this year. He, like you said, he'll be the bell cow. I don't see Giovanni getting many touches. He might come in as a change of pace back and third down back for passes. But other than that, he looked really good. I liked Eifert too. I feel like Eifert's gonna be the Eifert he was like 2 or 3 years ago. That whole offense. John Ross caught a touchdown even though it was for 3 yards. He had 1 reception. I like that. So next we're gonna talk about this. We have the Steelers and the Browns.
Are the Browns back relevant?
I like the Browns.
Did I hear someone say that?
I like the Browns. Their defense actually stepped up. That TJ Ward from Ohio State looked very good. Had 2 interceptions. Had a jump. He jumped on a little ball thrown to Antonio. He looked very good out there.
Myles Garrett
Absolutely.
is a beast.
That's a given.
That is an understatement.
Myles Garrett actually could be a dark horse defensive player of the year candidate. What do you have 2 fumbles in that game? But my main takeaway from that game was what Dustin had touched on last week is that Le'Veon Bell's good, but you put any running back there, and they're going to average 5 yards a carry. And James Conner went out there and did that, 5 yards a touch, over 160 scrimmage yards. Le'Veon Bell might have won the game, but if you got to trade him, trade him.
In that weather, Tad, it's not easy to run on an all-grass field in pouring rain. The ground's all slippery, and you're still making cuts like that and putting up that kind of yardage. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing what kept both of them from, excelling regardless of what it is. Even the kickers look bad. I'll shout out to T.J. Watt for coming in with that block at the very end. For on the kicker from the Browns. That was nice of him. I like T.J. Watt though. T.J. Watt's pretty good this year. Steelers defense, I think they'll be a top 10 defense in the league. Antonio Brown had his, he's gonna do him. He had his little touchdown. I think that he wasn't given the ball a lot, but Big Ben also was just awful. He played bad. The weather, the weather. I think the weather had a lot to do with it. No doubt. Slipping. The ball wasn't coming out of his hand like normal. Juju Smith-Schuster, he did very well. He's probably one of the best slot receivers in the NFL if you ask me. That's yeah.
My takeaway from the Steelers and Browns game was obviously we expected more from the Browns, and we got what we expected, honestly. You can't ask them to beat Pittsburgh week 1. You can't. They just over-exceeded my expectations, to be honest. I like what he said about T.J. Watt. Not many people are talking about it because it's in Myles Garrett's shadow. Garrett had 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. T.J. Watt had 4 sacks and a blocked field goal. Yeah, and nobody's talking about it.
At all.
4 sacks in 1 game. But that was really my take on that. Gordon, they said he was a little banged up with the hamstring. He played 65 of 89 snaps, which is a good amount. I feel like they ran Carlos Hyde a little bit too much. I like Duke Johnson. I think he gives them a little more versatility. And for fantasy purposes, Jarvis Landry, he's going to be a machine. And that's all I got for Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
That'll bring us into our next matchup, San Diego and Kansas City. That was a fireworks show. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of special teams action. I thought we were going to see a better Chargers defense, but I was impressed with both teams, really. Really impressed with Kansas City's explosiveness. I knew they'd have it, and I knew Mahomes was going to be good, but damn, he was very good.
Kansas City better check that secondary out, because if it wasn't for drop passes, Phillip Rivers was throwing for the NFL record for yards in a game.
I agree.
Right.
He had a hell of a game, and they still lost is the thing. Their defense looked awful.
How many touchdowns did they drop in that game?
I know. I can't even count.
I had Keenan Allen, and I was a little let down with his performance.
What?
But as far as touchdowns go, I figured he would have caught a – being down by that
Right,
much.
right.
Being in a game where Phillip Rivers throws for 450 yards
Right.
damn near.
You
I
would
figured he would
expect
at least
like
get
120 with a
150
touchdown.
plus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know who a good take I like from that though, the Chargers? Mike Williams. Hurt
He's a
all
big
last
body.
year. He's a big body. He's got for sure hands. He looks like he's going to take the number 2 there, cuz I mean, you had Tyrell Williams miss a wide open touchdown, back to what Matt was talking about. I mean, in his hands. It was awful, but I do believe he'll be the number 2 there now. Antonio Gates look for him in week 2 to get a lot more work, and I see him having at least 5 to 7 catches, maybe over 50 yards. He'll do really good next week. Antonio Gates.
Yeah, my takeaway from the Chargers and Chiefs game, I've been the biggest hater on Patrick Mahomes. No, can't tell you why. I just thought he stared receivers down too much. And then I realized this past week, when you have Tyreek Hill, you can stare down a receiver. And because he's the most unguardable player I think I've ever watched. He's got the lateral quickness of Odell Beckham, the breakaway speed. He's everything you want more as a coach. The Chargers, you got to catch the ball. Phillip Rivers is old. He ain't going to be there forever. You better take advantage of the opportunities you got with Phillip Rivers now, because there's a good chance that when Phillip Rivers is gone, what you're going to get after him is not going to be as good as him. Mike Williams, big body. Keenan Allen, consistent. Slow as dirt, but open every play. I don't understand how.
It's the release. The way he's able to not push off but get off for receivers. The best example of that's obviously Odell Beckham. Yeah.
And another quick little thing. If you are in a fantasy league and you're playing with idiots, trade for Kareem Hunt now. Coming off a 3-point game, a bell cow running back, and an Andy Reid offense, go get Kareem Hunt now. And if you have Travis Kelce, trade him.
I could get along with what you're saying there, and I also think Melvin Gordon done well. We talked about Eckler earlier in the show, but Melvin Gordon, he did enough to keep his job for sure, and he lived up to second-round potential.
Yeah. Another thing to touch on that. I got one question for you, Dustin. Yeah. Why do you think fantasy owners should trade Travis Kelce?
I think that fantasy owners should trade Travis Kelce because I don't see the chemistry there like it was with Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith makes every tight end great. Tight ends, running backs, great with Alex Smith. Receivers, not so much. But I just didn't see the connection there. And we watched a lot of the game because me and Matt watch football on Sundays together, and we all have Tyreek Hill on our fantasy teams, me, him, and his stepdad, Darlin Ventrella. But it was just the chemistry's not there, and I mean he's a good tight end, but you know what you can get for Travis Kelce out there on the market.
Right.
I mean, people think that he is better than Rob Gronkowski. They might be delusional, but
I'll tell you
I
one
think
thing.
He's faster, but there ain't nobody who can go up and get it like that's a tight end like Gronk. The boy's a monster.
All right, guys, before we get into this next game, I want to tell y'all a quick joke. Y'all ready to hear it? The Dallas Cowboys.
What are you looking at?
That's the joke. 8 points. Dak Prescott, what are you doing? What is your whole team doing? 24 points scored in that entire game. Carolina, you didn't impress me either, but you looked a hell of a lot better than Dallas.
Going back
Yeah.
to Dallas, that's my team, and I've been saying since year one, Prescott is not the answer. You get rid of Dez Bryant, you replace him with no one. Witten leaves. Who are you throwing the ball to? As a West Virginia fan, I love Tavon Austin, but he's not made for the NFL. Allen Hurns, Jacksonville didn't want you for a reason. Michael Gallup didn't do a damn thing. So everybody's so hype on Gallup, and Cole Beasley is your leading receiver. How you know you got problems at wide receiver if Cole Beasley is your leader?
I think you're putting a little too much heat on young Michael Gallup and Terrence Williams. It's hard to catch the ball when your quarterback can't throw it to you. The offensive line for Dallas is not what it was. Zeke is going to struggle all year long. And I've said it multiple times. I said it last week. I said it the week before. Cowboys might win 4 games this year.
They did not look good. Their defense only allowed 16, but
that's their strong point of their team, their D-line. But Randy Gregory had a relapse in his drug recovery program.
And they're in a division where teams can put up 25 to 30 points a game like Philadelphia, Washington, and fucking New York. New York's going to be the sleeper team in that division this year.
Oh, no doubt. Cam Newton looked really good in his first game. He looked like the Cam Newton a couple years ago. He's running the ball more, which he kind of has to do that. I mean, you have Funchess, Curtis Samuel, and DJ Moore, which that's another takeaway. That's a letdown, actually. DJ Moore had 0 catches. Coming out as a rookie, I understand.
First-round pick.
Curtis Samuel, 0. This one, yeah, first-round pick. Didn't touch the ball, and it's just cool. I mean, it speaks volumes to see Cam Newton come out like that. Come out, with really no weapons and still score, but he has to use his feet, what he's been doing, which is awesome.
So that game was really just a total letdown. We did give a premium play last week on Carolina, though, to win that game.
Yeah.
So we were 3 out of 4 on the premium plays.
Who was the one loss? What was the one loss?
The one loss was New Orleans.
Right,
and they lost
at the
outright.
Yeah.
10-point spread.
Awful.
Yeah, but we didn't give a play on that. We gave a spread play on Baltimore.
Right.
By the 7, they won by 44.
Correct.
We gave Vikings by the 6. They won by 8. So barely covered, but that game was a lot more of a Minnesota shutout than a close game. And then Carolina was our 3rd. And then I believe we gave a Rams Monday night pick, which we'll get into the Monday night games here. Dustin, Caleb, what's your take on Darnold and the Jets?
I like Darnold. I think Darnold did really well. The Lions just look bad. I don't know. Matthew Stafford didn't look like Matthew Stafford. He's getting paid all this money to play like he's Blake Bortles. He's not throwing the ball right. Blake Bortles can win games. That's what he's doing in Jacksonville. But he's a god awful quarterback. Put him in any other system, bad. That's why I compare him to. But this past week, but Matthew Stafford isn't bad. He's always been mediocre in fantasy. But from not a fantasy standpoint, the Jets impressed me. I enjoyed watching Sam Darnold. I think the number 1 receiver there is going in. Robbie Anderson, I mean, was the standout player last year. I think that was he was playing lights out. He's dealing with some legal problems right now, but I think that'll get thrown to the side. But Quincy Enunwa, that's a running back in a receiver's body. His yards after the catch is insane. I enjoyed watching their offense.
And that's a good waiver wire pickup. And if he's available in y'all's leagues, is Quincy Enunwa. Go check him out, receiver for the Jets. Good pickup if you have somebody like DJ Moore that underperformed, or Cameron Meredith out of New Orleans who didn't even get the start, or just anybody that you feel like dropping. Any injuries? There was quite a few in week 1.
Christian Kirk. Quincy Enunwa, the thing with Quincy Enunwa, I think people are also getting a little high on him. Yeah, Sam Darnold threw 21 passes, and 10 of them were to him. But Jermaine Kearse will be back next week, and Quincy Enunwa is going to go back to the bench.
so. Quincy Newell was really good last year too. That's a great check down.
It's
He's a better slot than Curse, I think.
but they're gonna have to play too many receivers because they didn't pay Terrell Pryor for nothing. Yeah, he's not great, but we obviously see with Deion Lewis, if they pay you, they're gonna play you.
Rams.
And that brings us to our next game.
Last game of the week.
The last game of the week, the Raiders and the Rams. John Gruden's return after 10 years off, and look, you could tell he ain't coached in 10 years because that was the worst offensive play calling I think I've ever seen in my life. I had Amari Cooper on my fantasy team. He won't be getting started for a very, very long time. I've never seen a game where, and fact check it, 2 passes over 12 yards down the field the whole game. How does your quarterback throw over 30 passes and only 2 passes go over 12 yards down the field?
I was also let down with the Gruden offense, but I was most let down by what he said pregame. He really contradicted himself. He had first said that Khalil Mack wasn't a big loss to the team and it wasn't going to make a big difference. Then after the game, they asked him what the biggest deal with his team was, and he said, man, we've got to get a better pass rush. And I just slapped myself right on the forehead when he said that. You just traded away the best pass rusher in the league, said that he wasn't that reliable as an asset to the team. He was worth unknown draft picks. And then after the game, you're preaching that your pass rush sucked. That was just totally contradictory. And Rams kicked their ass. Rams looked good. It took them a while to get going until the second half. They were down 3 at halftime. Had me a little worried. But come back. Defense looked good second half. They stepped up. Didn't allow a single point in the second half. Had a pick six from Peters, their new addition. Their defense looked good, and they're only going to get better. So going forward, I like Rams just about every week, guys. We rode them last year, and we'll ride them again this year. They're going to be a good team.
Main thing, going back to the Rams and Raiders from me before Matt jumps on it, and if you have Todd Gurley in fantasy, you have got the guy. I have never in my life seen an offense that the coach can come out and say, I honestly got a little pass happy. I felt like I was playing a game of Madden. We had to come out in the second half and give the ball to our MVP caliber player, in which they did, and he rushed and had over 100 scrimmage yards in the second half alone. Todd Gurley is running through holes like a train. It's crazy. Their O-line's too good. Brandon Cooks was open deep, and that's another one of those young quarterbacks who need to play more in the preseason. 18 of 33 for Goff. He missed Brandon Cooks deep twice and Robert Woods deep once on what should have been touchdowns. But like they said, the Rams are the Rams, and they're going to be good, barring injury. That might be the team to beat. That's why I'm happy to say that I'm a Rams fan and a Vikings fan.
And Patriots fan and Eagles fan.
And Patriots fan. I'm not really big on the Eagles. I don't like them. Their coach is from a few hours north of us, 2.5 hours north. And that's going to do it for me on the Raiders and the Rams. Matt, take it away.
For that game, I got to look at the Raiders' penalties. They had 155 yards in penalties.
It's Brandon Cooks, man. It's the Cooks effect. He gets behind you, and you feel like you have to hold him. He's too freaking quick.
They had 3 huge pass interference, 2 on Cooks, and I forgot who the other one was on. But those 3 plays alone were at least 100 yards in penalties. Like, you can't give them a spot foul inside your 25 now. All you got to do is turn around and you intercept the ball. It's that simple. Just turn around. And then with the Rams, they're going to be the Rams. Adding Sue, Talib, Peters, their defense is unreal. And we all know what their offense is going to do. They're just going to put up 30 a game on anybody. I don't care who you are.
They might
Minnesota,
win the Super Bowl.
Philly, 30.
I said a couple weeks ago, before I watched preseason and all that, they asked me who I thought was going to win the Super Bowl. And on air, I said that I had the Chargers playing the Rams in the Super Bowl. After watching Week 1, The Chargers ain't got a chance in hell of going to the Super Bowl. But the Rams, they're stout. But one thing I noticed about the Rams, they don't want to stop the run. They just want to hit the quarterback. When they learn to stop the run and hit the quarterback, that's when they'll be a good team. But it was, even the announcer said it, they were showing no effort in stopping the run. They just wanted to hit the quarterback. Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald, and Sue. Sue just wants to hurt you. He's a headhunter. That's what they do.
You take out the quarterback, you'll win the game. But going back to what you said about the Chargers real quick. Can the Chargers get a kicker? Please. Last year, they had, what was his name?
Josh Lambo.
No, the other dude.
Oh, the yellow guy.
Oh, shit.
The Asian. What was his name?
Oh, yeah.
He was so bad.
Anyways.
I thought my buddy Tommy Dong was out there kicking.
I would put him up, that kicker from last year for the Chargers, against Miami's punter. The University of Miami's punter. I talked the first week about how sorry that guy was versus LSU. Like 2 or 3 punts of 30 yards. And we'll use that to take us. We'll wrap up our week 1 recap on NFL, and we'll move into college football recap. Not near as good of a week as last week because it wasn't a bowl game type scene. But we still had some good matchups. Starting at 11 o'clock game, we had Mississippi State and Kansas State. I like what Mississippi State done at the 18 seed, 31-10 victory. Running back Colin Hill looked good. And your quarterback Fitzgerald coming off suspension. He looked good as well. SEC, another dominant 21-point victory. So that was a good one. There was only a handful of college games where both teams were ranked or big conference. And another game was Georgia and South Carolina. Matt, you could talk about that game.
It was a close game until Georgia got the pick 6. Then the Bulldogs really just put it to them. You could just tell that they had more talent, more speed, more power. It was just too noticeable. And South Carolina couldn't keep up. Maybe in the next couple years, South Carolina will finally get back up there. But for now, Georgia's going to be dominant.
From this past weekend, one of my takeaways was this is actually another bet memory, one that I'll never forget. Bowling Green was playing Maryland, and it was 14-14 going into the fourth quarter.
Please tell me Maryland won this game.
Hold on. 14-14 going into the fourth quarter. I have Maryland spread. I want to say I had them by, it was either 14 or 21. And I was mad. I actually had turned it off. And I was just watching my other games. I was like, yeah, that teaser's blown. I looked back. Maryland outscored them 28-0 in the fourth quarter. I ain't never been so pumped about a football game in my life. And that's a takeaway from this weekend. Arizona State with Herm Edwards at the helm. That's gonna be something fun to watch with Wilkins at quarterback. Michigan State's overrated. Penn State's overrated. Ohio State is amazing. They're making them that's my takeaway from the weekend right there. I have never in my life watched an offense as good as Ohio State. Their backup quarterback's never lost a football game in his life.
All right, and Caleb, what did you think about the big SEC-ACC matchup? Clemson going into Kyle Field, Texas A&M, coming in with Kellen Mond, coming in on fire. Jimbo Fisher getting back to that ACC feel. Right. It was a good game, very good game.
I think that's probably one of the better games this week. Wasn't your highest scoring, offensive game, but Clemson coming in and beating A&M was that's pretty impressive to me. I mean, they are ranked number 2, and but A&M looked really good last week, and they still look good to me. I mean, they only lost by 2 to even SEC is a powerful school, but Bryant looked good. No interceptions. He had the touchdown or whatever. And then he had on the ground is where he thrived at.
Yeah, I like the A&M game. I really wish they would have won. I took their money line just because it was such a big underdog, 13-point spread. But really there wasn't many college games that were very good this week. Georgia and Kentucky and Florida were pretty good, and then the USC Stanford game. If anybody wants to touch on that,
I'll touch on the A&M game. I didn't say anything about A&M and Clemson. Clemson, where's this so-called pass rush we're supposed to be witnessing? This 4 defensive linemen in the top 15 picks of the NFL draft. Where's that at? Y'all let Mind throw for 400 yards against y'all, and the backup throw for 100. Y'all gave up 500 passing yards to A&M.
but that's the ACC, bro. Who's gonna touch them? Virginia Tech may be it. Miami's not gonna touch them
If
this
they
year.
even play Virginia Tech.
They'll have to play them in the conference championship.
True. You got a point there.
So we'll see then. That'll be the real test because you know Clemson's going to be there at the end. They always are. So we'll see what happens in that one.
In the USC Stanford game, like I said last week, Bryce Love was going to have to play out of his mind. He did. He really put the confidence back in Stanford fans with the over 100 yards performance. And USC, your quarterback just got exposed as a freshman. That's all I'm going to say. He's a freshman. What do you expect going up against Stanford? Your in-conference rival. I mean, tough game. It was close. But with an experienced QB, I think you pull it out.
So we'll wrap the college football up there. We had some good top performers. Tua, your Heisman favorite, looked good. Slung the ball all over the place. Will Grier, another one of your Heisman favorites, looked good. That's my 2 front runners right now is Grier and Tagovailoa from Bama. I think Bama's going to be tough to mess with. They're going to be there at the end like they always are. That's probably going to be your champions. We'll each give our top 4 right now going forward from the week. I think your number 1, of course, is going to be Alabama. They're just too good. They are who they are every year. Best team in the nation, best coach, best recruits, turn into the best players. And then number 2, I'm going to go with a surprise. I'm going to bump Ohio State all the way up. I've been sleeping on them, but now I'm awake. This week, they're going to have a very tough matchup versus TCU. So they'll be there. Clemson at 3 still, and Georgia at 4. I'm going to leave it as my college football playoff still being that.
I got a quick question. How can you drop Georgia from 2 to 4 after dominating South Carolina for 4 quarters?
South Carolina was overhyped. The quarterback, Brantley's not as good as everybody thought. It was in South Carolina, but still.
Neither is that quarterback in West Virginia.
Yeah, I think Will Grier's a lot better than Brantley.
Look at who he's throwing to, and look at how open they are every pass. It ain't hard to. Hell, Blake Bortles might can throw to an open receiver.
So who's your top 4 then going into week 3?
My top 4. Number 1, Alabama. It's going to be Alabama every week. I hate them. I hate everything about them, but you have to recognize greatness. It's kind of like the Spurs. Can't stand them, but you just have to recognize it. And Alabama's going to be my number 1. Ohio State's going to be my number 2. Georgia's number 3. And they're not all going to make the playoff, but Auburn's number 4. And Auburn opens at a 10.5-point favorite against LSU this weekend, and I think they cover.
For my top 4, Alabama is going to be number 1. I think everybody in the country has Alabama at number 1. I got Ohio State. I want to say 2 because Clemson didn't impress me. And Ohio State has handled both opponents. They haven't played great competition, but whenever you score that many points and just dominate like they have, I think they moved to number 2. Clemson's going to be 3, and then Georgia at 4, just because they haven't lost yet and they've beat everybody handily. So, I mean, that's got to be your top 4. We'll see. Ohio State could really prove something this week when they play TCU. And like Dustin said, Auburn, if they beat LSU, they'll be in the running for the playoff because that'll put them in a very good position to play Alabama later on, and that'll decide the SEC championship.
Well, I could say this about the Auburn situation. Like I said with LSU, their best chance of making the playoffs, so 1 loss and it being to Alabama. But last year, Auburn lost to LSU, and they still made the play, or they had a chance to make the playoff. They beat not Clemson. They beat Alabama and they beat Georgia, and had a chance. They just couldn't beat Alabama twice, which nobody's gonna do.
But if Auburn beats LSU, they will be ranked top 5, no doubt.
I don't know. I wouldn't say top 5. I say they'll probably slide up to 6 because it's gonna be the 4 that I named, or the 3 that I named. Wisconsin's gonna be up there, and then that right there.
Okay, so say they beat LSU by 2 touchdowns. Just say it happens. Do they move into the top 5 then?
Still number 6.
No. With them beating Washington already this year too?
If the spread is at 10.5, they got to do what they got to do. You're going to give a team credit for beating LSU by 2 touchdowns when the spread's going to end up being 11.5, 12 points? I don't know. I don't know what's worse, your outlook on this or Hunter's left hook he just tried to throw at the window. But,
All right. My top 4. Let's see. I like all of them. Besides, I think I would replace Clemson with Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma this year. I really do.
You like the kid Murray?
I like him. I
That's
I
what
love
we'll
the dual
refer
threat.
to him now on the show as Kid Murray.
Kid Murray.
well, the thing with Oklahoma that I'm questioning now, which it's a Power 5 school. They're every year a top 10 school. But what I don't like about Oklahoma now, which I was high on Oklahoma last week, they lost their All-American running back for the season.
All right, we'll wrap up the college football recap there. We'll leave it to just a few games, and then we'll talk about quickly a few games we're looking forward to this week. LSU and Auburn being the first in Auburn. Going to be a good game. I don't want to give anybody a pick on that. But that's going to be a tough game. Then you got Boise State and Oklahoma State. A couple smaller name schools, but both in the top 25. That's going to be a good matchup there. Alabama and Ole Miss, it's always a good one when Alabama's on the road versus another SEC school. And that's really about it. No more top-ranked matchups. You got TCU and Ohio State. That's going to be a good game in TCU. Maybe Ohio State's only chance of losing, really. 14-point favorite. I'll probably still take Ohio State. TCU doesn't stand a chance. But that's it, and then we'll get into this week's college football, NFL football, which we're really looking forward to, I'm sure. Week 2, now we got a good feel for each of the teams. We know kind of what we're looking like, kind of what our fantasy teams are going to look like. And a lot of hope starting with tomorrow's game, Thursday night. Baltimore Ravens, who looked well in their first start, versus Cincinnati, who also looked good. I'm just going to go out and say I'm going to take Baltimore, and I'm going to take them by the 1-point spread.
I like that. I think Baltimore has a really good team this year. I think that they will end up beating the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals offense looked pretty good, but I just don't see Andy Dalton doing well against that Baltimore Ravens defense.
The defense is going to win the game for the Ravens, no doubt. Flacco might make a few throws. He looked good last week throwing to the tight ends, but I think the main story is going to be how much pressure is on Andy Dalton.
I'm also going to pick Baltimore for one reason. I can't say it off the top of my head, but I know for a fact Andy Dalton cannot win a spotlight game. I want to say, as of last year, I don't think he's ever won a Thursday night, a Sunday night, or a Monday night football game in his whole career.
Well, so we could all agree on Baltimore there, which means they'll probably lose.
And by the spread, because the spread's 1.5.
I also like the spread. I also like what Baltimore implemented this week when they got up a lot. They had certain packages where they let Lamar Jackson in, doing a little running. So we'll see what we got there. We all like the Ravens. And moving into Sunday, we'll start off with the Saints and Browns game. Saints, if you let me down again, this will be worse to my heart than Tampa Bay beating you, letting Cleveland get their first actual win in over 17 tries. So, Saints, go out there, do your thing. I think Cleveland's offense won't be able to stand a chance to match up with Breeze. I think Saints get back on track. It's a double-digit victory. And then we'll move on from there. We'll start it up.
Saints and Browns. What's the spread for that Saints and Browns game?
8.5 New Orleans.
I like the Saints. I'm not going to say I like the spread, but I like the Saints to win this game. They're fast, but I think Cleveland's fast too, and they got playmakers now. Cleveland got playmakers. So I'm taking the Saints, but I'm not taking the spread.
I like the Saints. I see them beating Cleveland again. Cleveland going 0-1-1, which is weird to say. That New Orleans defense looked kind of shaky, but I think that that defensive coordinator gets on that tail end this week in practice, and I think they'll be a top 5 defense next week. I think that they'll shut down Tyrod. The running game I'm not worried about. They'll shut that down, but they need to worry about Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry and Njoku. But I see the Saints winning, and also see them covering the spread.
The one quick thing with the Saints, they've lost 8 straight season openers, which if that's what you're worried about, then maybe it's just Sean Payton's got to do a little coaching, get everything right. Their roster's been a lot of tossing and turning over the past couple weeks, so they got to get that in check. But they've started 5 straight seasons 0-2.
See, I think the Saints are going to win the game, but Caleb, I disagree with the Saints defense being top 5 this week. I think Tyrod going into the dome, Josh Gordon getting healthier, getting into the flow. You already know what Juice is going to do. He's going to catch 10 balls probably because it's going to be a shootout. Denzel Ward up against Michael Thomas is what I want to see. Thomas with 16 receptions last week. I mean, he's a beast. We all know he's been a beast since he got in the league. Can't guard him. But with Carlos Hyde, Josh Gordon, because who's Marshawn Lattimore going to guard? Are you going to stick him on Josh Gordon, or are you going to stick him on Jarvis Landry?
Better stick him on Gordon because
Jarvis Landry's too quick for him.
Yeah.
Either one, because then the other one's going to eat.
Well,
So,
Jarvis.
Matt, you're basically saying that you think Browns have a snowball's chance in hell.
Well, I think they lose just because they won't be able to ultimately keep up with Drew Brees, but I think Tyrod's going to put up a strong fight.
I agree. I guess you also think that Dallas has a chance against New York, too, this week, or...
Hell no. The Dak Prescott experience has failed and sailed smooth out of here for me.
So the real question is, who can Dallas beat? Buffalo?
Washington maybe once in Dallas?
Dallas couldn't beat Dallas. That's how bad Dallas is.
But their defense is not gonna be bad. That might keep them in a couple games. I look at the Giants to beat the Cowboys by a touchdown this week. Odell Beckham coming from Odell Bacon right here. That boy's going for 200 yards. Let me tell you. All right? That's all I got. Saquon, ball out, brother.
Yes. I think that that's a division rivalry, but I think the Cowboys get it handed to them. I think Saquon Barkley goes for over 100 against that weak Dallas D, and Odell's going to have you a touchdown, and I think Sterling Shepard's going to go over 100 as well. I like Sterling Shepard. So I definitely have the Giants winning. I don't know if they'll cover the spread, but I definitely think they'll win.
I like New York by the spread this week. I'm going to give that out as a premium play. I believe it's a 3-point New York.
3-point spread.
Oh,
might
hold
put-
on, guys. It's a Dallas by 3-point spread.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop
Money
it.
line Giants.
Stop
put
it.
Put it in right
I'm
now.
gonna put my truck on it, Hunter's house, Matt's car, and Caleb's truck all on Dallas. I mean, all on New York. That
was
is
about
the
to say.
wackest line I think I have ever seen in my whole life. That would be like McNeese State University being a favorite over LSU.
It is
this
prime
great.
time in Jerry's world.
It can
but
be in
I
Jerry's
think it's
world,
about to be
Because
Odell's
Jerry's
world.
world, don't get me wrong, the stadium's nice, but they ain't got Wi-Fi. And there's going to be a lot of people wanting to look at their scores because Odell and Saquon's going to run that shit up.
like that.
So I think we could all agree that New York destroys Dallas this week. That's our premium play, one of 2 or 3 we'll give out during the show. New York +3, New York money line this week. That's going to be a good one. We'll move back to the 12 o'clock games. We got a good NFC South divisional game. Falcons versus Carolina. We got a lot of mystery between both teams this week, and we'll learn a lot in this second week. It's in Atlanta, so we'll see. I'm going to take
to touch on that.
I'm going to go ahead and say I got Atlanta in that. I'll take Atlanta in that.
Yeah, I like you have Atlanta, you like that. If I'm going to take anything, one of my plays would be the Panthers +6. I like that. I mean, I think the Falcons can pull it off, but I don't see them covering the spread. Cam looked really good, and that Falcons defense, they just look, they look hesitant when they were playing Philadelphia. And I mean, they got beat by Nick Foles. Nick Foles had an awful game, and Jay Ajayi was running it. And I think that they'll give the ball. I think McCaffrey he'll go for over 115 scrimmage yards. I like Carolina covering that, but I don't know. It's gonna be a good game. It's like you said though. It's a toss-up. It's a divisional game, so those are really hard to take. I wouldn't touch it, but if I was to, I like Carolina.
Take it back. The Falcons got beat by Matt Ryan.
Right.
Let's get that straight. Nick Foles didn't do shit.
Beat themselves.
Exactly. Nick Foles did not play well at all.
That's what I'm saying. He's trash.
But I think the Panthers might win the game. I think they win. Just because the defense, and then you got McCaffrey coming out the backfield with Falcons losing Deion Jones.
What's the spread?
6-point Atlanta.
All right, with Deion Jones out, Keanu Neal out, Austin Hooper's probably going to be out. Devontae Freeman's hurt, and he's going to be questionable. I like Carolina a lot to beat Atlanta. And Cam Newton, he's going to run the ball probably 12 to 15 times. If I were to have to guess anything to win this game, it's in Atlanta?
Yep.
That makes the pick quite a bit harder. But really, it's stop Julio and see what you do. Luke Kuechly, and Thomas Davis, they're going to stop the run game.
At least they'll be in a dome so that nobody can blame the weather coming with this Hurricane Florence.
Will we see another Julio Jones 300-yard campaign against Carolina, though? Because that is the team that he roasted.
Absolutely not.
No, Matt Ryan won't have time to get him the ball.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, you're terrible. You are what Jalen Ramsey said you are. You're overrated. Trash. You're just terrible, Matt Ryan. I just want you to know, just from a small town kid like me, I want you to know that our high school quarterback is better than you. Shout out to Lane Armour. Boy threw for 600 yards last week.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's going to go to Louisiana Tech to play quarterback.
Nice. Shout out, Lane. Hope you hear this. Next game we'll move into is going to be Redskins and Colts. I'm going to keep it quick with this. Adrian All-Day Peterson goes for another 100. Redskins win easily. Redskins also cover the spread, which is only a touchdown, 6. So I'll take Redskins next week.
Go ahead, Matt.
I gotta agree with everything you said. I got Adrian Peterson on my fantasy team, and he's a must start this week after what Mixon did to the Colts and what they did to Arizona. I thought Arizona had a good defense, and they made them boys look bad, just bad. The two-headed monster they got over there is something else. Adrian Peterson, he's coming back. Somebody just had to put a little belief in him.
Is Adrian Peterson a Pro Bowl running back this year, yes or no, out of the NFC?
No.
No, I don't think
Because you
so
got
either.
Kamara, who's going to be a Pro Bowl back.
Gurley, who's your best running
Gurley's
back
going to
in the
be
league.
a Pro Bowl back, in Zeke. It's going to be nearly impossible.
And David Johnson.
And Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
But I
Dalvin
mean,
Cook looked terrible.
I mean, take Todd Gurley out of there, or either take either Kamara out, Gurley out, or Cook out, because one of them's going to the Super Bowl.
All right, so Dustin and Caleb, quickly, Redskins or Colts?
Redskins. Love Alex Smith. Did very good. The two-headed running back, like he said, Chris Thompson, Adrian Peterson. Receivers didn't look all that well. Shout out to Trey Quinn. Sucks that you went on the IR, buddy.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's went on the IR, ankle injury.
Man, he's still getting that
but
$500,000 check though. So damn.
I like Alex Smith. He's a good quarterback. The Colts didn't look that good. Defense was a little shaky. Andrew Luck's going to take him a couple games, to get back in rhythm. And he also took a hit last week. That was kind of scary. It was looked like a little late hit. But yes, Redskins.
I like the Colts. Andrew Luck, first game back in over 2 years, 39 of 53 passing. It don't get much better than that.
80%.
Norman's gonna lock down. Ty, but I think the Colts with Jack Doyle and Eric Ebron and the supposedly good running back Marlon Mack, who we haven't seen in over a year. Apparently, he's gonna be back in the backfield. And I say what you want about the Colts. Andrew Luck is a winner.
He is a winner.
He
and I've
takes
always
a
been
terrible
big guy
team
on
to the
Luck.
playoffs every year.
But is he going to be able to do it this year with Houston and Jacksonville in your division? And then teams such as, really, one of those two teams are going to be a wild card, so he could in the AFC.
No, he's not making it this year.
AFC's also wild card's going to have to be somebody with the likes of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, or Cincinnati, Kansas City, Denver, or Chargers. AFC's weaker than the NFC at the top, but they're not weak.
I think they're weak, just all in general. You're looking at Aaron Rodgers most likely not making the playoffs.
There's been an AFC Super Bowl winner the past 3 years.
The past 3 years,
The
the
Eagles
Eagles
won
won
this
last
year.
year, boy.
Damn, you're right, they did.
But going into the next game, Houston at Tennessee.
Oh,
Houston will win this game easily. Easily. I don't know what the deal is with Mariota, but it don't even matter. They might have been in a rain delay. They might have been playing in the mud, the slop. It still does not matter. They are not near Tennessee. Nobody will guard Hopkins. Lamar Miller's going to run for 100. Watson will get back to what he did last year. And watch out for Will Fuller. The wheels of that offense might get rolling.
Houston, we do not have a problem this weekend. They are going to take care of business in Tennessee.
I agree with Houston by 1.5 this week. That's a spread. That might be another play that I like. I would take. Tennessee, you just don't stand a chance. I'm sorry. I don't like your committee back there. Henry didn't look as good week 1 as I figured he would this year. So I'm also go with Houston, and I'll probably take him. Not going to give that as a premium play, but I'd take him.
What's that spread again?
1.5 Houston.
Needs to be 12.5 Houston. I'm taking it.
I'm taking that spread all day. Houston, double digits, no problem.
Are you really, though?
I mean, I'm not literally taking it, but y'all should take it.
Matt's learned his lesson from sports betting. It's a no-win situation.
Houston, no doubt. I think that Deshaun Watson comes in here and tears things up against that defense, and their offense just looks horrible. And shout out to the Honey Badger for getting him a little interception on Tom Brady this past weekend.
A deflection.
Still an interception.
But still an interception.
Old boy from from Cleveland had a deflection interception too. He had 2 interceptions that game. What Denzel Ward? I said T.J. Ward earlier.
It's
Man's
not
not
the
a defensive
same, though,
lineman.
man. That'll bring us into Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. I'm going to go ahead and say Philly. Philly wins that. No doubt about it. Jay goes for 150. Buccaneers can't sustain and do what they did last week. Start Jay, and that's the only person I'd really start fantasy-wise in that game. Mike Evans, you got to start.
150 yards from Jay.
Dude, he went for 200 twice last year. Do you not remember the Nigerian nightmare? Hell yes.
That's bold since Alvin Kamara had 9 carries for 30 yards. Philadelphia runs away with this one. Fitzmagic, he played a terrible Saints team Sunday. The Eagles' pass rush and O-line's going to dominate. But shout out to JPP. Get your hands on the ball, brother.
You mean 8 fingers. But the Eagles are going to take this game, no problem. Fitzpatrick does not even come close to repeating. I think Mike Evans might have a decent game. I hope so because he's on my fantasy team. But other than that, I have no hope for Tampa Bay. Their defense is god-awful. God-awful. And Nick Foles might actually make some plays this week, hopefully.
In what dream?
Hopefully he'll throw a screen to Aguilar about 10 more times because
Yeah, Aguilar's going to have a good game.
Didn't Aguilar have 10 catches for 7 yards last week?
Hell,
Didn't
I'll
he have
give
negative
a
yards
shout
per
out.
reception?
What us Philadelphia fans just want to see this week is
What us Philadelphia fans?
Zach Ertz catching the ball for once. That boy took Amari Cooper's spot for stone hands of the league, no doubt. That dude got hit in the wrist with the ball last week, and he was wide open, like the video refined. That dude is wide open.
So what you think, Caleb, about this Eagles-Buccaneers matchup?
Eagles are going to smash them.
No doubt about it. No
No
questions asked. So we'll slide
Yeah.
into our next game, which I'm
What do you
really
wanna talk
hype
about?
about. Pittsburgh versus Kansas City. I think this game goes over no matter what the points is on the spread. Over 50, over 46, whatever it is. Going to be a fireworks show. I like both teams a lot, but I'm going to have to go with the home team, Pittsburgh, this week. They're going to get back on track. Kansas City's got to take a bit of a step back from a 38-point game. Probably still going to score 20 to 30. But I like Pittsburgh this week. We'll see what happens.
I like Pittsburgh this week against Kansas City. I think that they have a good defense this year compared to who did Kansas City play last week?
Of course you like
San
Pittsburgh.
Diego.
You're a Pittsburgh
well,
fan.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh fan, so I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna be biased, but yeah, the Chargers just didn't look good last week. I think having a lot of people hurt in that secondary, and they'll have Bosa back next week though. But I still think that Kansas City ripped them apart. But Steelers have a better defense, so I believe that the Steelers win that game.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Only because Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot more touches. He honestly should have had 2 touchdowns last week. But Andy Reid pulled some trickery out and had to help me out last week, giving it to Tyreek Hill. But like I said, Tyreek Hill, he's too good. He's too fast. Nobody will guard him. Even though the Chiefs' secondary will get toasted by Antonio Brown and Juju Smith. It's going to be a shootout for sure. But I think Kansas City is going to edge them out on this one.
I'm going to take the Steelers. Are the Steelers at home or are they on the road?
They're at home.
Okay, Steelers at home every time. Steelers play down to their competition, but when they play good teams, they play up. I remember 2 years ago on Monday Night Football, the Chiefs were supposed to kill the Steelers, and Big Ben threw for 5 touchdowns in the first half. Y'all remember that? That'll happen again. Kansas City's defense is terrible. They gave up almost over 400 passing yards to Phillip Rivers. That's all.
So we got a 3-1 Steelers there. It could go either way. I'm not going to give a pick on that aside from the over. What is the over, somebody? What we
Hey,
got?
tech guy, pull it up.
Let's see what he got. 52.5. Wow.
That's a
That
lot. That's
might
a high
be
over,
that
though.
might be the highest over I've ever seen. Can somebody think of another? I've seen Saints 50 at 50 or 52.
Yeah, Saints have been up there.
52
Last
and a
year,
half though.
especially.
Wow. I'm
Yeah,
still
that's
going over.
crazy.
It's going to be a 31 to 28, a 30 to
Might
27.
want to take that over on the Saints game, depending on if Cleveland can score, because you know that Saints are going to put up at least 40 again this week. But anyways, back on that. I like that over with Pittsburgh.
So that's it with the Pittsburgh game. We'll move into the next game, and we'll go quick on this. Sorry to Miami and New York Jets fans, but I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to ride the Darnold train until it stops. That boy's a freight train. Should have been number 1 overall pick a couple years ago. So I think it's his time to shine. New York's a big stage. I think he does good. Jets win.
I'm going to take the Jets, too. I was not super impressed by Tannehill in his return from injury. And Jets' defense looked really, really good, even though they said the Lions were tipping their plays. I don't know how much facts I can hold in that. I'm sure they were, just to outplay Matt Stafford like that. But Darnold, he played good enough to win. He didn't really have to do much whenever you get the ball inside the opponent's 50 almost every time. There's not really much you could do.
All right. The Jets and the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins. I did enjoy watching the Jets play in their first game. Sam Darnold, he looked, remarkable. He looked really, really good. But Matt wasn't high on him, but I think Tannehill does really good against this Jets defense. I think Matthew Stafford had a bad game. Jets defense aren't that bad. I mean, they aren't that good. I think that Matthew Stafford made him look very well. But yeah, give me the Dolphins. I like Frank Gore in that backfield with Kenyon Drake. I like that.
I think you're absolutely crazy if you think Ryan Tannehill's even a C- quarterback. He is the worst. Him and Blake Bortles run a close match for greatest quarterback in history of the NFL. Them and Johnny Manziel. They're all three really good. They all three pocket passers. You know, Manziel every now and then when he gets that line in him, he starts running around.
When he gets that line, or when he gets that cocaine in him.
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought you meant lion, like that lion spirit.
But
that line of.
But
coke.
anyways, I like the Jets. I actually like their defense. I think Jamal Adams is the man. He's LSU product. I'm an LSU fan. Give me the Jets by 13.
It's Jets by 3. I would agree there that I think I'll take New York back at home. It's going to be a good game out there. So I would go ahead and put a little money on Jets by 3 if I were you guys. I'm going to ride the Darnold train. In East Rutherford, going to be a good day. Darnold first game at home, he's got to go for 3+ touchdowns, 300 yards for the first time. Probably embarrass
Quincy
Miami.
Enunwa with one of those.
So we like Jets 3-1, and I'll put a little money on that one. So I advise the listeners to see what you got there. 3 points. Next game, Chargers and Bills. I'm sure we could all quickly in about 3 seconds agree that Chargers are going to beat the shit out of the Bills.
I am so sorry to Johnny Manziel, Ryan Tannehill, and Blake Bortles. Nathan Peterman is way worse than y'all. Good thing for the Bills. This week, Josh Allen's starting, which almost makes me think that for whatsoever reason, the Bills don't lose this one by 30. They lose it by like 25.
So, Chargers, and more Superchargers. We could all go with the Chargers. That's not even up for discussion. But what is up for discussion is Aaron Rodgers is... What's his report like? What's the word on him?
He's not practicing all week. He said he wants to play. He's got a sprained MCL and maybe some ligament damage. So,
if I was Rodgers, I would not play just because last year that's who injured him, Minnesota. And I could see him injuring him again. Playing or not, I could see him getting a hold of him. And I don't like the new NFL rule that they implemented because of that Rodgers injury, the putting your bodily weight on the quarterback. Because that happened a few times this week in a few games that were notable. I don't like the penalty. I can't really tell how you determine how you land on someone, but don't like that NFL. And let the men play. Let the boys play.
Rodgers could be 100% healthy. He could bring back Greg Jennings, Donald Driver. He could have Jimmy Graham, Jermichael Finley, Ryan Grant, Eddie Lacy in his rookie year, and he still ain't beating Minnesota. That Minnesota is that team. Kirk Cousins for 400 yards this weekend.
You should have wore your Minnesota jersey and wore your skull hat. Your Vikings
Surprisingly,
helmet.
surprisingly, while y'all are getting on me, I have an extra small Adrian Peterson jersey at the house from when he played for the Vikings. Remember, I got Adrian Peterson and Larry Fitzgerald for Christmas.
I'll give you $100 if you wear that on the podcast next week and let me take a picture of you.
That thing wouldn't fit on my nutsack.
If you wear that jersey, an extra small Adrian Peterson jersey, we'll make it the cover of the video, and I guarantee we go viral.
I look like that offensive lineman trying to be Zeke.
You look like a damn Dallas Cowboy. You look like a damn Dallas Cowboys
Hell, I'll probably look
cheerleader.
like Zeke this year. Zeke looks like he's wearing about a 4X this season. Y'all saw him the other day. Boy was looking hefty.
Yeah, no. To touch on that, yeah, I definitely see the Vikings winning this. That defense is good. Kirk Cousins is going to end up picking the Packers apart. I just enjoy the Vikings all around, watching the receivers and the tight end get the ball a lot. But Dalvin, I think Dalvin Cook will step up next week. But that's another little two running back system right there. That's good. You know, you have Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray. You know, that's a good change of pace back. Yeah, I think the Vikings get them.
And this game
Vikings
is
got
in
that.
Lambeau for reference, and it's a
Yeah.
Green Bay 1-point spread.
Yeah, give me Vikings all day. That defense is tough.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings. Not being sure what's going to happen with Rodgers, now I have to lean against the Vikings. We all know how good Rodgers is, how much of a difference he's going to make. But if he ain't playing and it's Kaiser back there, it's a blowout. Blowout. I don't recommend starting Devontae Adams this week just because of the defense for Minnesota being so good. For me, on my league, I have Josh Gordon to throw in as a replacement, so I'm very lucky. But Kirk Cousins will go off. Green Bay's defense didn't really look that great. Trubisky kind of handled them in the first half and third quarter until the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened to the Bears' offense last week. They stopped riding Jordan Howard and just ended up choking the game.
I'm also going to go with the Vikings. I think they are the team to beat right now in the NFC. We'll see what happens, but I think Kirk Cousins does his job. Rodgers isn't going to be enough, and Vikings win by 1. At least, probably by 7. So next game that brings us into, we could all agree on Vikings in this game. It's going to be a good one, though, in Lambeau, is Lions and 49ers. Jimmy G gets back on track, beats the shit out of the Lions. If Jets beat you by a touchdown or more, then Jimmy G's definitely going to beat you by 7 or more. Spread on that's going to be a 6-point San Francisco. I'll take that as a premium play, so be looking for that.
When are you going to give your premium plays later? In a little bit? Okay.
For that game, I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think Matt Patricia has a 0-2 start as a head coach. Eventually, they'll get it right. Eventually, Stafford get his head out of his ass and actually throw the ball to a Lions player instead of the other team. But like Hunter said, Jimmy G gets back on track. Hopefully, Marquise Goodwin comes back because their connection that they have is just unreal. Goodwin got burners, and he could beat the Lions deep if he's back.
I also like the 49ers, but I like them for a different reason. I think the run game gets going this week when they decide that Matt Breida's the guy instead of Alfred Morris. Come on now. If Alfred Morris could perform, he could only perform with Robert Griffin III. And we know how that went. But that poses another question we'll get into in a little bit. Is Deshaun Watson the next Robert Griffin III?
Hell no. Robert Griffin III, dude, go do something else. You're a genius, bro. You're a doctor, isn't he? He's a doctor or something out of Baylor. He graduated something.
Oh, I don't
way
know.
up. Go do whatever that is, Robert Griffin. You're intelligent, but you're not an NFL quarterback.
I
I'm
agree
sorry to
with
say it.
Give me the 49ers. I think Garoppolo is going to tear up that Lions defense again. So, yeah, I really don't have much to touch on that because I think they beat him by the spread, too. I think the 49ers are going to get him. And that defense plays well, so.
So next game, we have the biggest spread of the week. Los Angeles Rams, 13-point favorite versus Arizona. Arizona looked like complete trash this week. So, obviously, I'm going to take the Rams. Maybe not by double digits, but they still got that. Los Angeles by 10 or more.
This brings to another one of my best betting memories ever. Watching Matt throw a temper tantrum when he had money on the Jaguars to beat the Cardinals. When Blaine Gabbert threw like 4 touchdowns.
So, what's your take on the game?
My take on the game is Rams by 30. And we'll be seeing Mr. The Chosen Rosen real soon.
I gotta agree, Rosen's coming out soon. That performance from Sam Bradford last week was awful. We all know what the Rams are gonna do. They're gonna destroy the Cardinals. Gurley's gonna go off. Goff throws to everyone, even Cooper Kupp.
So, we'll give any Rams player in fantasy a stardom for the week. Start Kupp. Start Gurley and Goff if you have them. Start any Rams player. Because it's a Rams snooze fest. What do you think, Caleb? You agree?
Yes, I agree. Besides the tight end.
Yeah, I'd start the tight end. Whoever you are, Rams tight end, you're getting
Exactly.
started. Who are you? Hopefully we hear from you because we have no idea who you are. So, moving into the 3 o'clock games.
You better put some respect on Tyler Higbee.
Yeah. Who is that? Higbee?
Yeah.
Sounds like a freaking math teacher.
You'll know this week. He's one of my deep
He's one of your dark English teachers from 9th grade.
deep sleepers for this week. In
No,
fantasy.
that sounds like the PE coach that says that he was all-state running back, state champion,
Bro,
all this.
you ain't
That's
gotta
your-
say
that's your
PE coach. That's our old high school physical science teacher.
Boy, I coached them up. We won every game. Where's y'all's banner at in the gym? Oh, yeah, they took it down. We were all on steroids. Shit like that. Oh, man. So, Patriots-Jags. Really looking forward to it. Hope my boy Fournette can get back in there. Booga Nation. I don't think he's back this week. But I still believe in the 7. Rep the 7. Patriots kill them. Going to be nothing like the AFC Championship last year. Patriots take advantage of Bortles. Patriots by 10 in Duval.
I think the Patriots defense looked really good last week. I think Blake Bortles doesn't do a damn thing. And with Fournette being out, they're going to have to lead on Yeldon to run the ball. No. Brady's just going to dominate the defense. With Ramsey getting, honestly, exposed by Odell. And New England being a 1-point spread, I got to take New England by the 1.
I'm going to have to take Jacksonville. Because, let me rephrase this. If Leonard Fournette plays, I'm taking Jacksonville. If Leonard Fournette doesn't play, I'm taking New England.
Get ready to take New England.
Because
he's not going to be 100% one way or the other.
I think what people are leaving out when it comes to New England, yeah, they always use all these different running backs. You can't scheme because you know what running back they're going to play. Last week they went into the game with Brandon Bolden, James White, Rex Burkhead, and Jeremy Hill. They left the game with no Rex Burkhead. He's got a concussion. Jeremy Hill tore his ACL. And James White has an elbow injury. Don't really know how you have an elbow injury. But 3 of their running back, 3 of the 4 that started last week might not be playing. Although they are expecting to get Sony Michel back. So I'm taking, give me the Jaguars.
1 point. Since when has it mattered who's on the Patriots offense? Tom Brady could make me a Hall of Famer. Let's be honest. He's thrown to nobody.
Shit, boy, I made you a DeRitter Hall of Famer.
Oh, my God.
Give me the Patriots. Blake Bortles is waste management. Absolutely garbage. I like Tom Brady way better. With Gronk, it's a nasty hookup. You have, especially if Fournette's out. GG. Yeldon, no knock to Yeldon, but he's a playmaker. TJ Yeldon can't be too.
Yeldon, you went to Alabama and Fournette went to LSU, basically.
Yeah, and all Alabama does is produce bunk-ass running backs. Kenyon Drake, what are you doing, bro? Derrick Henry, what'd you do week 1? Mark Ingram, mediocre.
Lay off the juice.
Yeah. Bo Scarborough, you got cut by the Dallas
yeah,
Cowboys.
That's what they all say. It was Adderall.
Yeah, no, give me New England, no doubt.
All right, that'll slide us into the Broncos and Raiders game. I'm going to go with Broncos at home week 2 by 6. Gruden takes another L. Their defense already looked bad. Keenum's really going to expose them. Emmanuel Sanders will be a good start this week for anybody who didn't start him last week like a dumbass. So I'm going to go with Broncos in that.
Broncos win. I think Gruden's coaching style is outdated. The man probably has 4 fullbacks on his roster. And even with Marshawn Lynch looking very good against the Rams, the quarterbacks win the game. And Carr, what's going on? Last year, nothing. This year, starting out, you threw 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions. Granted, you're playing the Rams. I understand. You're probably scared for your life back there. You got Sue, the biggest bully the NFL has ever seen, probably. Aaron Donald coming at you. Brockers coming at you. There's a slew of linebackers. But, Carr, you gotta reach Amari Cooper somehow. You signed Martavis Bryant for your vertical, but can you even get protected that long?
Yeah, they re-signed Martavius. It's crazy. Did you see that? Yeah. Okay. I say give me the Denver Broncos. I think the defense is going to shut down Oakland. Case Keenum looked really good. I mean, apart from the 3 interceptions. You got Royce Freeman didn't really show anything. You got Lindsey. I like Emmanuel Sanders right there too with Case Keenum. That's a really nice hookup. So yeah, give me Denver Broncos all day, every day.
I'm also going to take the Broncos. I like the Broncos by probably a touchdown and a half. Raiders D-line, I think, looked pretty bad outside of Arden Key. Although, I think why the reason the Raiders lost so bad is they went away from Marshawn Lynch. I don't know if it was injury related or if it
Skittle related. He might have got the boo-boos during the middle of the game.
I read an article.
He might have got the bubble guts at halftime, bro.
Probably did. He probably ate too many chalupas. But I did read an article that Lynch left the game because he didn't touch the ball the whole third quarter. I read that he had to leave the game because he was sick to his stomach. Really?
He ate too many Skittles, dude. I promise you.
He gets sick to his stomach all the time during games. He says he gets worried about so many people. I mean, which is reasonable. There are probably 100,000 people watching you play. But
who gives a shit, dude?
Lynch,
turn me up.
He might be an X factor this weekend, but X factor or not, I'm looking for a big game out of Emmanuel Sanders.
There's 100,000 people watching. Turn me up. Give me more carries.
Boy, you ain't never been around 100,000 people.
Yeah, I have. I've ran the ball in front of 20,000.
You ain't never been hit by Aaron Donald either.
And Sue ain't never tried to break your neck.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when the lights are on, turn me up. Monday Night Football, turn me up. I ain't sick to my stomach till after the game, dude.
And that chain you wear
they call
around
him
your
Beast
neck,
Mode.
Don't wear that when you're playing the Rams.
They call him Beast Mode. Oh.
Akeem Talib is snatching that chain, boy.
Beast Mode or Weak Ass Mode? Or freaking Puss Mode.
What about that 10-yard touchdown he had?
Yeah, that was pretty beast. I guess that's when he got sick. He was sick after that.
Sick and tired
Yep.
of eating this steel.
His back was probably hurting. So that'll move us into Cowboys and Giants. Giants beat the shit out of the Cowboys. We talked about it a little earlier. We could all agree. I got Giants +3 and money line. Saquon Barkley, start him. Odell, start him. They're going to blow up.
Giants. Enough said.
I think the Giants are going to be your premium play this week for your bets. The Giants they're going to win the game. And being the underdog, I think you just have to bet on them.
Matt, you are a Cowboys fan, bro. You gonna go get your own team like that?
I'm also a realist. I know what's about to happen. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to the people.
As long as you know, because I know some people who don't.
All right, so last game of the day is going to be Seahawks and Bears.
Ooh,
I'm going to take Seahawks in Chicago on Monday Night Football. They'll be able to redeem themselves. Seattle, y'all suck. Hate to
Seattle.
say it.
You mean Chicago?
No, Seattle sucks. I'm taking Chicago.
Oh, you're taking Chicago. I
Yep.
thought you said you're taking Seattle.
I like the offense. Y'all should have beat the Packers, but you were playing Mr. Rogers, so that's what happens. Khalil Mack, you're a freaking beast. Got to talk about that for a second. How did we not shout him out? Pick six and fumble, forced recovery, and a couple sacks on top of that. Good game by Mack. Good
Deshaun
pickup.
Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser. The pick six was Deshaun Kaiser. That's like Nathan Peterman level. Maybe, no, okay. He's Blake Bortles level, not Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman, the Ravens had more completions than he had yards.
But was that the first win of Deshaun Kaiser's career?
Hell no.
Hell no.
I mean, we could give it to him. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so we could shout out to my boy Deshaun Kaiser. Got his first win. I wish I could be a fan, but your team ain't good enough. Caleb, what you think about this game?
Well, I'm going to have to go against the grain on this one. I've done it twice. I took the Miami Dolphins, and I think I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks right here. Give me Russell Wilson. Most underrated player. I think every single year, this dude is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, give me them. And also, I'm going to give y'all another sleeper. Since my boy Doug Baldwin he might not even play another snap this year. I say Brandon Marshall is going to be a top 10 receiver this week. Him and Russell Wilson are about to link up. So, you can go ahead and give me the Seattle Seahawks.
Tyler Lockett's the guy to have this week. And for the future going forward this season. I like the Bears. I think Jordan Howard's about to show the world in the spotlight again. He's about to show the world. And Bears by a touchdown. Coming from a former Seahawks fan back in 2011, 12, 13, 14.
2017.
I'm about to buy this man, Dustin, a jersey with every team stitched on it so he can wear it.
Every playoff team stitched on it.
Every
if you
single
don't make the
winning team.
playoffs, he don't want it.
In this game, I'm going to go with the Bears. Russell Wilson, I'm just going to warn you now. You better stretch real good before the game because Khalil Mack's coming for your ass.
And Russell Wilson will probably put that man on skates. Also, this man, Dustin, even just bought a Washington Capitals jersey, Ovechkin. This boy loves every winner.
I thought he had a Las Vegas Knights.
He almost bought a Serena Williams shirt.
No, he bought a France World Cup jersey.
That's
you got a
what it
Pogba
was.
jersey, bro? I saw your Pogba jersey. I saw it. But all right, that's all the games. We're going to wrap it
I've
up
been a
there. We're
fan.
each going to give one quick premium play. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to take Ravens +1 tomorrow night. Ravens win that game handily Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to give you your premium play for the rest of the year. Anybody playing the Bills, bet the house. Bet the house. The Bills will be this year's Cleveland Browns.
Go ahead, Caleb.
All right, so my premium play this week, I'm going to have to go with Vikings +1. Give me the Vikings +1. I like that all day, every day. Kirk Cousins is about to shine.
My premium play for this week is definitely going to be the Giants, the Cowboys. You're terrible. Also, one more quick premium play. I like the Carolina Panthers this week in an upset at Atlanta.
Carolina with the upset. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. We went over a lot today. We went over NFL Week 1 recap, College Football Week 2 recap, NFL Week 2 preview, and College Football Week 3 preview. So, see what y'all think. Take our premium plays if you like them. We'll see y'all again next week. Give us a little feedback on our YouTube channel at Legends Never Die Podcast 1. Check us out on Instagram at Legends Never Die Podcast 1. Check out our sponsor, Legend Gear and Apparel, at legendgear.co and on Instagram at Legend Gear Apparel. Good quality business products, our own personalized merchandise, watches, ties, lots of good stuff there. So go check them out, and we'll see y'all next week.